When I was 16, my doctor told me that I couldn't have kids, but somehow I have 4 kids. I lived majority of my life thinking that I was not going to be able to be a mother. Um, I'm not sure if anybody is familiar with polycystic ovarian syndrome, but it's gut wrenching to have to deal with inconsistent periods, to have to deal with having cysts on your ovaries, to have to deal with the way that it feels when they rupture in the middle of the day and you just have to curl up into a ball. To have to deal with some months you don't have one. Some months you only have a period for 2 days. Some months you have a period for 2 weeks. You never know. Um, some months it's very light, some months it's very heavy. Um, Infertility. I remember when I was married, me and my ex husband were told that we would never have kids. And I started going to a fertility doctor because we wound up having about 4 miscarriages that we could count because my body was rejecting babies before they even hit a month. So I just recall 4. Um, I started going to a fertility doctor, and what they were about to start me on, I believe it's called IVF or something like that. And they told me it's possible that I would have multiples. Well, I started going to the gym, and then 2 weeks later, I felt like I had the flu. So I went to the hospital and I was told that I was 2 weeks pregnant. I'm like, this is the first time a doctor has told me I was pregnant. Usually I would take a pregnancy test and it would be positive. Then I'd get excited and go to the doctor. And the doctor would be like, you're not pregnant. You already had a miscarriage. So the fact that I went to the hospital and they did a blood test and a sonogram and told me that I was 2 weeks pregnant, I knew that was nothing but God and I was not going to let her go. They also told me that it doesn't look like there's actually a baby in this sac, so you should just have a DNC. For anybody who doesn't know what a DNC is, it's basically an abortion. It's where they just scrape the fetus out of you before it grows because they feel as though it's not going to make it. But they're not God. So I said, hey, you know what? My body has rejected so many babies. If this baby's not supposed to happen, this baby won't happen. But what I won't do is let you guys scrape her out of me. I was already calling her a her. So I was told that I was high risk and I had to go to the hospital 4 times a week to get injections because I started throwing up. It didn't matter if I wanted to drink water because remember I told you I felt like I had the flu. It didn't matter if I wanted to eat. What I wanted to do, I was throwing up. Um, couldn't hold anything down. I wound up losing 45 pounds while I was pregnant with her. But anyways, I'm going to go get IV infusions 4 times a week. And throughout my whole first trimester, they kept trying to get me to do a DNC. The nurses and the doctors kept telling me that she was not going to make it. I kept calling her she. Well, fast forward to 32 weeks. Um, I went to my 32-week appointment. Mind you, they were seeing me. My primary care physician, well, my whatever they call the baby doctor, was seeing me 4 times a week too. I was getting infusions and I was seeing my doctor 4 times a week my whole pregnancy. Um, at my 32-week appointment, they were like, your blood pressure is so high. Your husband's probably going to have to choose between you and the baby. So I need you to go next door to the hospital right now. I don't think it would be wise to let your baby make it. I was like, I already told my husband, if they tell you to choose between me and the baby, choose the baby. So, long story short, they're like, we're going to do an emergency C-section. I said, no, I don't want to do a C-section. I want to have her vaginally. It took a whole lot of fighting. They finally were like, okay, you can have her vaginally, but we're going to have to put you on, what is it called? I think it starts with the M. I don't know. They told me they had to put me on some sort of medicine that was going to like help with my blood pressure, help me not have a seizure, help me not die. Then they gave me steroid shots because she was only 32 weeks, so she was not fully developed, and they wanted her organs to fully develop really quickly. So they gave me steroid shots. They had multiple IVs in both of my arms. They watched me. It took her like 48 hours, but she arrived on December 30th, 2017. My baby had to have the blue light for jaundice because one of her organs wasn't formed all the way. I believe it was her lungs or kidneys, one of those. Anyway, so she had to have the blue light. She couldn't suck my breast, so she immediately had to start drinking out of the bottle. She was 4 pounds and 5 ounces. She fit in my hand. She was hospitalized for a month. But here's the kicker. I was so sick that I was hospitalized for the same amount of time as her. We were in the hospital for like 6 weeks. We were in the hospital for like 6 weeks after I had her, 6 or 7 weeks. They let us out. We had a baby shower. Unfortunately, me and my ex-husband did not stay together. When she was 4 months old, I wound up having to leave him via first cool terms, then eventually a domestic violence shelter, because when I told him that I wanted nothing else to do with him, it turned very violent. So I went to a domestic violence shelter with her and my nephew, because I had been raising my nephew since I was 18. So I was 25 at the time. I went to a domestic violence shelter with my 4-month-old and my nephew. And by the time she was 6 months old, me and my new boyfriend found out that no. By the time she was 6 months old, I had a new boyfriend. This was before I went to the shelter. Let me backtrack. Before I went to the shelter, I had a new boyfriend, and that's when my ex-husband came and tried to hurt me. But anyway, so when she's probably like 8 months old, I found out that I was pregnant. Like, it happened really fast. So I was pregnant with another kid, but this time it wasn't by my husband, because I was, I divorced him while I was in the shelter. So this new baby, I wanted to be a mother more than anything my whole life, right? And it saddens me so much, but honestly was not ready to have another child. I was not ready to have another child because I had just left a toxic, abusive relationship that was my first and only relationship I was ever in. I was with him for almost 7 years. We had so many miscarriages. I gotten beaten by him so many times, cheated on so many times. His family disrespected me so many times. So by the time we had our baby, I thought that he would change, and really he got worse. So I wound up having to leave the love of my life with a 4-month-old baby. And I had to go no contact with him, so he wasn't helping me take care of her. He was dangerous. So, anyways, when I found out that I'm pregnant with this next baby, I didn't want her because I didn't really know the guy I was pregnant by. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, we had met on Facebook, and it was way before Facebook dating, so it wasn't on that app. He just started messaging me on Facebook. It's a long story behind that, but apparently he had been watching me on Facebook for a long time, and he knew that I was single because he watched like how my divorce played out on Facebook. And so he kind of like trapped me. I'm not even gonna lie, but I willingly walked into the trap, so I don't blame him for that, but that's what happened. And I'll fast forward past all of that. Me and him wound up having 3 kids together, and within that time he broke my jaw after our first baby, and he broke my ribs after our 3rd baby. I was high risk with all my pregnancies. I had 3 C-sections with him, and he was dangerous, and he was not a good partner or a good father. And I had to leave via a DV shelter, but this time I moved my kids out of town. So now it's me, my nephew, and my 4 kids. And I just want to say happy Mother's Day to every mother. Some of our ways that we became a mother might be unconventional, but that's not the point. If you're a mother and you stand up for your kids every single day, and your kids mean the world to you, and your kids are the reason why you're still here, and God brought you through, happy Mother's Day to you. God bless you. I love you. Stay strong. You got this.